Hey, thanks so much for having me here. Sorry about the technical difficulties. My browser kept crashing, and that's why it's important to build open source on Cardano to make better tools for everybody. Here at SnapBrillia, we're pioneering a new path to equal opportunities for everyone. And what that means, and the problem that we're solving is that developers are extremely expensive, especially when a project is trying to take off, right? Salaries and wages and total compensation makes about 85 to 90% of most projects' budget. At the same time, there's a great resignation. 375 million people are quitting in the next couple of years, and people are burning out of doing the same things. And what that means is they just want to do something else. And when they try to break into tech and learn, the different skill set that you need to become a developer, they face a lot of blockers, a lot of bias. At the same time, companies face a lot of constraints on timeline, budget, and quality. And that is the triangle of technical debt and project death. Open source is facing a tragedy of commons. It's overused, underfunded, and oftentimes people and devs are also burning out and quitting. And so what we do here at SnapBrillia is we try to decentralize opportunities to give people a shorter, a new, fair path to equal opportunities to break into tech. And our mission is to get 1 million self-taught into our ecosystem. It's a huge opportunity for us and also for our whole ecosystem. We do this by simply creating a marketplace with open source gigs and bounties where companies and devs can build and grow with the right developers on budget without sacrificing quality. And oftentimes for newer engineers, especially those who are breaking into the space, right? They need some kind of guidance. A lot of open source projects, they're very complicated. They lack documentation or don't have any. And because of that, we try to connect newcomers and new developers with mentors to form mentor and mentee teams. We have a huge database of 870 million talent in our database. For any tech stack, anywhere you can find a mentor. As long as there's a gig, you can find a mentor. We not only help you connect with seasoned and senior developers that can help you, learn by doing the work and by building and being on the same team with you, but also to help you build a verified and trusted economic and self-sovereign reputation. What that means is that's something that can be trusted by Fortune 100 companies when they hire, because that's something you fully control, your identity, your career, and it's not something that is like a resume that anyone can edit. We also feature a no-code setup cloud IDE that supports both Haskell, Plutus, and Nix, so that teams can quickly come together and start coding right away. Does it work? Yeah, it does. Over the past couple months, we have helped 72 people that came to us without knowing much about front end or back end to directly land job at some of the big tech companies like Google, like Amazon, like Microsoft, big and small, right? And this truly opens doors where you are able to find a mentor that's willing to teach you for everything related to the coding project and get real hands-on experience quickly. So companies go on our platform, they simply just create a gig, right? Describe what they want to get done. Usually these are development gigs on Cardano. And you as a candidate, you can go there and explore the different challenges, right? See what you want to do and also potentially get paid for your work. If you're a senior engineer or you're a teacher or you've been invited directly by us, you can become a leader and mentor and prove that you can lead teams, not just do projects. and demonstrate to the company that you're a team player. Of course, we help people build their economic identity with ratings, with on-chain reputation, with all the history of all the different projects that they were able to do and form teams quickly. So for companies, right, that are building, oftentimes, like I mentioned, budget is a constraint. Whatever budget they have, as long as it's $1,000, so 1,000 ADA minimum, so that to make sure that the developer on our platform, get paid. We only take 10% posting fee on this, barely make anything, but it's really for coffee and bagels and cloud hosting. However, what we're doing already makes a huge impact, because here's, for example, one use case. Tangent wanted to build open source and advance the public good, and they had about 200. We sent about we reached out to about 200 senior engineers. 85% of them opened and read what we're doing, right? 49% click on the email, 44 replied. And the people who replied had overwhelmingly said, yes, I want to build open source. This is an awesome project. I always was interested in Web3. In this 1 week, we drove 20 senior active developers, and Tangent ended up hiring two people from this pool. Clint said they found one really good lady who is a full stack developer from the developers SnapBrillia sent. Loads of Web2 experience, and she is a Web3 too, which is a huge plus. She is in our Slack helping now. We recruited her and one more developer to the full-time team after the successful bounty. Here's a little clip from Ben. Let me share. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Can you hear it?
Again, just a big thank you to the SnapBrillia team. We've been able to get our bounties up there, find some great developers, and really build and create the things that we need to help us achieve our goals of bringing more utility to NFTs on Cardano. He's an and his team.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. What is Tangent building, and why is it important for you guys to find developers?
It's a good question. So when we came across Cardano and the whole Catalyst community, we wanted to bring more utility to the network in regards to the NFTs. So yeah, SnapBrillia, Nin, yourself, we've been able to communicate with you from early days. You've been really open and helpful guiding us on this journey. And then, yeah, through numerous communications with yourself, we learned about your bounty program, and we're able to, as mentioned just now, we're able to put our needs up there, and we're able to find the people to successfully implement the things that we needed to do.
Awesome. And what kind of developers were you looking for, and who did you actually end up finding?
But yeah, I know it's specific to do with the coding side of things for our staking, for our farm. So yeah, we were able to find the right people for that, to help clean up the code, and to implement the changes that we need to make it specific to Tangent's needs.
Awesome. And you said you did find people, right?
We certainly did. Yeah. We had a vast array of people to choose, and we were able to find the people that most suited our needs and requirements.
Yeah, and do you remember roughly how quickly that happened?
Yeah, it was a fast process. I mean, from the time of posting the bounty, I think we already had a couple of candidates within 24 hours, I believe. Of course, as time went by, we were able to choose from a larger stock of developers. Yeah.
Awesome. And I assume that they also were interested to work at Tangent, and it was kind of like a match made in heaven, sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. So we were able to, of course, interview and speak with these people as well. They were very open, and we let their vision, and they obviously saw something in us, and of course we saw something in their expertise to roll with them.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you.
Pleasure, then.
Awesome. So what we do is essentially play the matchmaker between you, you as a talent and companies. For you, we offer work experience, access to real projects that will pay, that companies will respect, that can help you build your on-chain reputation, remote learning, access to other senior devs. For recruiting and hiring teams, it's more qualified candidates, faster hiring, higher quality of candidates, and of course, get real work done. And how does this relate to open source? Most of the gigs on our platform are open source. So when you join a gig, you're contributing to the public good. So for those of you that don't know what open source is, I'm just going to play this very quick video.
What is open source software? At the most fundamental level, it's software that's code is available for all users to inspect, modify, copy, and use in almost any way they choose. While many casual users of open source software may never utilize this defining feature, its inclusion brings with it significant philosophical and developmental implications. Computer software is developed by writing code in one of any number of programming languages. Before this code can be run as a computer program, however, it first must be compiled. This process converts the programmer's code into computer binary, which is necessary to be run by a computer, but makes it indecipherable to people. Commercial software, often called proprietary software, also has additional licensing that further prohibits people from attempting to reverse engineer this process. But with open source software, the original programming is made available alongside the final executable program. This means skilled programmers can modify applications to improve or customize them, students can study how the programs were written, and the programs can be easily copied and distributed over the internet. Proponents of open source software believe open collaboration allows software to evolve via the contributions of many users, and they believe people should have the right to use their software in whatever way they want without licensing restrictions. Critics often worry the open source approach can lead to difficulty in managing the program, and they wonder how reliable and sophisticated programs can be developed without a clear profit incentive. These concerns are not unfounded. There are hundreds of different versions available of the open source operating system Linux, even a Hannah Montana version. And because distribution of open source software isn't managed by commercial entities trying to uphold their reputations, it's easy to find poorly developed, buggy, and outdated open source projects online. But this doesn't mean the open source approach doesn't work. To the contrary, much of the internet was built on open source software, and many people use open source software on a daily basis without even realizing it. According to its website, WordPress powers 26% of all websites. Firefox, whose market share has been slipping in recent years, is still the third most popular web browser in the world. VLC Media Player has almost 100 million downloads. Moodle remains the number 2 LMS in higher education, and Apache software is still the most popular way to run a web server. So who builds all this free software? Many contributors are the same people that use them and want to make them work better. In fact, many companies hire programmers to make improvements to open source software for their own purposes, but which are then shared back with the rest of the software's community. Students and new programmers may also contribute to projects as a way to practice and build a reputation. Even large for-profit companies like Google and IBM contribute to open source projects because they know the power of crowdsourcing and that building software that benefits everyone can benefit them as well. Open source software is not a new idea, but many people are unaware of what it is and how it works. A little more understanding about how the open source philosophy works and the potential of open source software can give you a new perspective on how you think about computer software and collaboration in general.
Awesome. So reputation is everything, especially when you're starting. Open source, actually, it's a lot of people think, oh, it's free. It is, but when you build your reputation, you can make money on building on open source. The open source service market is growing at 20% every single year, and in just 4 years, it'll reach about $50 billion. Here's some of the top 40 open source projects by category. There's a lot of DevOps, IT operations, data analytics, but in blockchain Web3, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano, they're all fully open source as well. So it's a huge pillar. And why is Cardano investing heavily in open source? And why are we helping open source companies and projects flourish and get rid of bugs, as well as engage new devs into the open source ecosystem? In 2021, in December, about 9 months ago, we had about 18,000 monthly active developers in Web3. And the number actually is a little bit higher now. And we want to be able to incentivize people to come to Cardano and to build open source. What we're trying to do with the community is to build a community-owned open source ecosystem that's commercial viable, that's experienced, to increase the visibility of the whole community. We have a whole challenge, and we track the number of open source tools and frameworks, quality of open source projects, and really all of it to improve adoption of Cardano technology, to make it simpler, easier, less buggy. This was a funded project by Catalyst. I'm sure you guys have already heard from Cardano Catalyst. If you haven't, please do check it out. But we have a lot of already active contributors that are working with us. We always talk about open source and have an awesome team that really cares about the open source ecosystem. For the front end, we are asking for 1 million ADA to fund other open source projects, right? So if you care, or if you have a project that, or you're hacking now, right, you're building something that you're excited about and you want to open source it, come to Catalyst and ask for funding so that we can help match you with more devs and create more opportunities so that others can learn. Here are some of the team members, including myself and Patrick and Johnny, the head of open source, and Simon. We all have been staunch supporters of open source and open source projects for a long time now. And many of us are active contributors to many other open source projects. So we have MLabs and, of course, all the co-founders at SnapBrillia. Been extremely blessed to partner with the Latin state pools and the Cardano Hackathon to be able to take this presentation to you. And of course, all of the advisors that we have are really, really senior technical leaders with like 14,000 citations almost, and Mark Israel, who used to be a CTO at Microsoft, for example. So come on, post a gig or join a bounty. Advance public good while you build your career. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your hackathon.